Mrs. Officer, and a million. No other rapper takes so much pride in their rhyming, and his wordplay can be thrilling. With an incredibly recognizable voice straight out of the Southern Delta, Lil Wayne is universally recognized worldwide as one of the most prolific artists. His playful wordplay and often radio-friendly songs have elevated him to heights unimaginable to the average person.
Lil Wayne's one of my favorite artists because I think he's one of the most gifted rappers of our time.
A wildly inventive and revolutionary rapper, the breadth of his work is astonishing, ranging from hip-hop to rock and roll. He invented the term bling-bling at the age of 17 and has been name-dropped more than once by President Obama.
I think he's one of the most gifted rappers of our time.
With a whole generation raised around his unique sound, the modern wave of hip-hop music undoubtedly holds some relation to his original sound.
You wouldn't think that they were separate if you didn't know your facts, if you didn't know the info. And there's that real family bond, but there's the respect for him as well with what Wayne's achieved. And there's also the label boss concern about his artists being treated right in humane environments. So they've transcended all of that, they turned tragedy to triumph, and it's reflected in his music.
Hot Boys' first single, Get It How You Live It, became a smash hit. And 2 years later, they set the hip-hop world alight with the launch of their innovative album, Guerrilla Warfare. It was around this time that Lil Wayne coined the phrase bling-bling, meaning light bouncing off precious jewels or gems. It's an expression that's made its way into the English dictionary, an example of how Lil Wayne's influence stretches across the globe.
Back in the day, you know, everyone was saying bling bling. Everyone was saying bling. If you got bling, who's got bling?
1997 proved to be something of a bling-bling year in its own right for young Wayne. It was a year that changed his life forever, and incredibly, he was still only 15 years old. Buoyed by the success of Guerrilla Warfare, Lil Wayne released his first solo album in 1999, featuring Juvenile and Big G. The album's title was The Block Is Hot.
What else is happening with Cash Money? I know you're putting a lot of people on right now. I mean, right now, the block is hot. Lil Wayne shit about to drop. I can't go no further than that. After that, I'm gonna come rap to you again, you know what I'm saying? But right now, the block is hot.
When he came with The Block Is Hot, that's when he started to stand alone. And I think that's when you could see Wayne as the artist that he was going to become. Before, I think he was lost a bit in that whole Cash Money clique. There was so many artists there, so much happening, so much energy. It was really dominated by Juvenile for a long while. And I think The Block Is Hot is when he started to stand alone.
With his foot firmly in the door at Cash Money Records, Lil Wayne began to establish himself as an up-and-coming talent.
Like we said, in the year 2000, it's gonna be all about Wayne.
And this a little nigga saying something about a little nigga. Look at this little nigga.
The block is hot, man.
Next week?
Next week I'll be 15. The block is hot, man.
As well as early musical success, Lil Wayne had an early taste of parenthood when he was just 15. His daughter, Remarni, was the first of 4 children he fathered. After the success of The Block Is Hot, Wayne's name was hot in the streets. The 17-year-old's life would be changed forever. Cars, clothes, fame, and fortune quickly became the star's reality. Wayne had sold over 1 million copies of his album, rocketing it into certified platinum territory. This album ensured his future. Over the next few years, Lil Wayne built up his public image, appearing on a variety of televised shows such as Rap City and channels such as BET and MTV.
I mean, Wayne is in my heart, homie, and that's cash money for life, dog. I can't see him nowhere. Rock, whatever they, Def Jam, none of that. That ain't what's up with me. You know what I'm saying? I see Wayne is cash money. He the future. That's why he the president of cash money. You hear me? He got a lot of things he got to do. Wayne got a lot of expertise he want to exploit, and I feel his best situation was here. That's why I put it on the table for him.
All right. So what's going on with the Birdman now?
Hustling, money ain't a thing, you heard me?
By 2003, Lil Wayne had released 3 studio albums.
In this industry, I think everyone just kind of respects when you've got a high work rate. I think everyone respects that about Lil Wayne, because I mean, there's even if you didn't like the way he raps, you would have to respect his work rate, because he's everywhere. And to be everywhere in a short space of time is working hard, you know. It's like he does a lot.
As a hardworking young man, he strived for self-improvement. Wayne's name was now scorching through the music world, and at last, it seemed like all his dreams were starting to come true. Wayne carefully cultivated his image, covering himself in colorful tattoos and undergoing major dental surgery, which resulted in a mouthful of diamonds and gold.
He physically has diamonds implanted in his teeth. They're not, it's not like they're just stuck on there like fake dentures or something. They're in there. They're implanted pretty good.
Lil Wayne's got tats on his face, all on his body, and his dreads. People do just want to look like Wayne.
I mean, you know, I don't know if Wayne's image was a conscious kind of creation. I think it's something that evolved over time. I do think that, you know, if you look at, you know, if you do study rappers, that's the one thing that separates maybe a major label rapper and like a huge sensation from an underground rapper. When you become this, to become this big sensation, you either need to have this, you know, larger than life image.
There were sort of a few lanes that you could go in. You know, you could be like the gangster, or you could be the mogul like Jay-Z. But Wayne sort of created this new personality where he could just be kind of a weird freak, which, you know, he would be the first to say about himself. He opened that up to a lot of rappers who followed him since then.
Grilled teeth, diamonds in his mouth. He's really got an image of like a rapper that doesn't care about normal society looks. He can just do himself. We asked him, why did you cover up a tattoo tear that he had on his face?
I couldn't say if he actually thinks of himself as a gangster, but he's definitely perceived as a gangster, you know, like he's, I think that's all a play on image, really.
I think it's not so much about his line of music. I think he is, I think that's just Lil Wayne. I think he loves being I mean, he has hundreds of tattoos. I think he likes to be outrageous, and that, you know, the teeth and the tattoos and everything gives him this sort of over-the-top image, which he likes. And I think he would probably be doing that even if he weren't a rapper. Like, I think that's just who he is, kind of larger than life. And yeah, I think it works for him. I think he definitely owns that.
Lil Wayne's unusual and uninhibited performances have made his stage shows the stuff of hip-hop legend. His artistic integrity and his eccentric Southern swag have made him one of the hottest hip-hop artists on the planet.
And I think with Wayne, he's spontaneous, and that's it. He's probably one of the most spontaneous artists you will ever meet.
And in 2004, Wayne released The Carter, History.
Lil Wayne is one of the most gifted lyricists of our time.
Lil Wayne is, I would say, a crazy genius.
There were sort of a few lanes that you could go in. You know, you could be like the gangster, or you could be the mogul like Jay-Z. But Wayne sort of created this new personality where he could just be kind of a weird freak, which, you know, he would be the first to say about himself.
It didn't do as well as his previous albums, but it would be a start of a sequel that will go down in rap history.
I'd have to say my favorite Lil Wayne album is the Carter 3, because it was the most anticipated. You know, I was on my radio show 2 years prior to that. Every week it was the build-up to that album. Every week people wanted to hear more and more. He was doing freestyles, he was doing cameos in other people's tracks.
The Carter 3 is, I believe, so far his best record. It didn't only sell 1 million copies in the US, it sold 1 million copies its first week.
And it just felt that the Carter 3 was gonna be that pivotal moment within hip-hop that year. It was gonna be the biggest album, no matter who was gonna come out. You know, Wayne was gonna do it. And even Eminem acknowledged that on his recent album when he was talking about he was jealous of all the success that Wayne was getting and everything. It's just the variety in the album, the variety of tracks. You know, the track like Dr. Carter, again, it shows his like real lyrical ability to be able to put the metaphors and to put everything together, and talking about what it takes to be a rapper is very, very detailed.
I would say like he's great with words, you know, like he knows how to play on words. He uses like puns and metaphors and, you know, similes, and he's just good at what he does. He knows what he's doing, you know, he's really smart, you know, really smart.
You know, it is genius. You know, rapping, it's modern day poetry, but to be able to think lines in your head, speak them, and then put finesse on it, and then, you know, the delivery, the flow, the context, and everything else, you know, I can't think of another musical art form which requires as much mental thought, you know. And tracks like that are just amazing, combined with some of the other party tracks like Get Money and Lollipop and so forth. And again, like I said earlier about Tie My Hands, where it's one of the most thought-provoking tracks.
Wayne continues to surprise his fans, like when he enrolled at the University of Houston in January 2005.
He attended the University of Houston, but I'm pretty sure it was an online program. And I also have learned that when you get to that kind of position, whether it's in the music industry or film or television, you invariably have a certain degree of intellect. And I think a lot of people kind of try to denigrate rappers by saying, oh, they're not really stupid. And it is a kind of almost a form of coded racism.
Despite earning high grades, not surprisingly, he dropped out due to his conflicting work schedule. By now, he was arguably the world's hardest working rapper and keen to get more involved in the world of R&B.
I
think what sets Wayne apart as an artist would be, number one, his work ethic. I think he, you know, a lot of rappers, a lot of musicians in general talk about how hard they work and they're nonstop, but he really goes nonstop.
Back in the day, Jay-Z's kind of work rate was the same as his. There were songs out on the street like nearly every 2 months.
He says it himself all the time. He wants to be the best, and he's a workaholic. He won't stop until he's satisfied with being the best and selling the most records and having the most popular concerts, and that's what he wants to do.
Wayne's ambition continued to motivate him. But even greater heights were to be reached by the hard-working rapper when his most successful and groundbreaking album, The Carter 3, was released in 2008, selling over 1 million copies in the US alone in his first week of release.
A lot of artists, I think, take a quantum leap. There's a point where you can kind of go, before this, they were good, and then after this, they kind of became great.
You know, the defining moment of Wayne, which separated Wayne from, you know, a great artist into the greatest, was the Carter 3. That really summed up his sound, his incredible lyrical ability.
No one sells those kind of records their first week out. So it was a phenomenal success. It was a huge smash. The way he set up the record was really good. He had his song A Milli, which was sort of there was no chorus on it. It was straight rapping. He was rapping very hard and tough. It was sort of for the streets. And then he had his song called Lollipop, which was basically all chorus. And it had a really catchy hook. It got huge airplay on Top 40 radio. So he sort of had those both. He pleased, his longtime hip-hop fans, and then he really crossed over to the pop audience with that album.
Records like a Millie, like his the furiousness and like the energy, he was like just a beast on there. Just a beast.
I can't imagine, Universal hearing a Millie and being like, oh, that's gonna be a huge hit, but it was able to kind of take hold and become this underground hit. Again, it shows his real lyrical ability to be able to put the metaphors and to put everything together, and talking about what it takes to be a rapper is very, very detailed. It is genius.
It was really where he just became on fire. It's really where he took lyrics to a different level, saying some of the flyest stuff you'll ever hear on any rap record in your life. And that's where I felt he became bigger than a great rap artist, just became one of the greatest artists of our time.
The summer of, I think it was 2008, I think when Carter 3 came out, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it, reverberating like heavy bass from car speakers. Even a song like Lollipop, which is kind of a bass sort of grab for
He'd already been a huge star, but that's when he became on the A+ list. He was a superstar after that.
It's in my cup, it's my business. But Wayne has a right to make his own decisions.
In yet another surprise, Wayne revealed to his fans that one of his favorite childhood bands, Nirvana, had inspired him to venture into uncharted territory. He was about to write and perform a rock album, which he called Rebirth, released in 2010.
He picked up the guitar, taught himself how to play it, and made it sound beautiful. And I think him as an artist doing that was powerful.
That's sort of Lil Wayne's philosophy. I like rock music. I want to make a rock record. I want to play guitar and get on stage and yell and jump around a lot and bang my head and whip my dreads around, and so he did it.
The album entered the U.S. charts at number 2, becoming Wayne's 7th top 10 album in the U.S., and spawned 4 hit singles for the star. Prom Queen found it easy to shake off his southern gangster habits, even with his new rock star image.
For a lot of artists, they're from the street. They're still surrounded by people they grew up with, and, they took people from their own communities, people who have very little opportunity in life, people who are going through tremendous hardships, and, giving them a way out to earn money and support their families and show them a better life, give them opportunities they wouldn't have experienced otherwise. And some of that hood stuff still surrounds you.
Wayne's gangster lifestyle finally caught up with him when he was arrested for possession of a handgun after a gig in New York City.
Well, New York is infamous for having something called the hip hop police, and they've had it for about, I want to say 10 years or so. It's a rough estimate. And obviously Manhattan is a very kind of small place. So, when a big rap star comes in to New York, it's pretty obvious. There's only a few venues that he can play. So I think the excuse was that they smelled marijuana coming from Wayne's tour bus, which is like the most absurd thing. It's obviously, if you didn't smell marijuana from Lil Wayne's tour bus, something would be going terribly wrong.
So they came on board and found a bag that had a pistol in it that was closest. It was registered to his manager, but it was closest to Lil Wayne, so they charged him with possession of a weapon.
Obviously, Lil Wayne has the ability at this point in his life to have about 20 people to take the rap, but I think that, they were out for Wayne.
People did feel like it was unjust, but at the same time, people thought that why wasn't there someone else in his team that could take the bid for him? But Wayne stood up and said that it was his, pleaded guilty, and so that's also put into the hip-hop community that it's good to man up to what you've done. And so people did disrespect that he had to do what he had to do for being caught with weapons, and that was go to prison for a year.
Rikers Island is one of the toughest prisons in the world. It houses over 17,000 inmates and has been home to some of America's most notorious criminals and some well-loved celebrities such as Tupac Shakur, DMX, and Sid Vicious. With such epic support from his fans, Wayne managed to turn his sentence into a chance to reflect on his success and his situation. Wayne reflected on his life and decided to make some changes to his lifestyle. While locked up, he had a job as a suicide prevention aide. From 10 to 6 at night, he walked the halls on suicide watch, keeping an eye out for inmates trying to kill themselves. Wayne's last month in Rikers was the hardest. He got caught with an iPod charger in his cell and was punished with 30 days in solitary confinement, a time he spent reflecting.
For somebody like that who comes from a life where they can have everything, you know, whether it's women or drugs or, you know, the best transport, you know, going everywhere in a limo or a private jet and never having to worry about anything and going to this kind of cloistered, dank Rikers Island environment. You don't have any music. And for somebody like that whose whole life was music, I mean, I think that's been the one constant stream. You know, he will just work and work and work and work and work, and that was his drug. And to be taken away from that and not have at least any other music, I think was obviously like had a major kind of psychological effect on him.
He's not the most patient guy, and that's one of the things that he said he worked on a lot in prison, was sort of learning patience and learning to not blow up when things don't go perfectly right away. I think he came out a better person.
Wayne was released from Rikers Island prison on November 4th, 2010, after serving 8 months of his year-long sentence. Since his prison sentence in 2010, Lil Wayne has taken a new stance on how he lives his life. He revealed that he is a practicing Christian and regularly reads the Bible, and maintains that his faith is incredibly important to him, regardless of public opinion.
He read all of the major religious texts. He read the Bible, I think he read some of the Quran, he read Confucius, he read the Tao Te Ching.
It's easy to see why this is the man who claims, "I've never been afraid of anything but God." For a while, Wayne started on the right path. He continued to put out music and released several albums that went platinum. His 2008 album, The Carter 3, has gone 8 times platinum since its debut. Similarly, the much-anticipated Carter 4 went 5 times platinum, selling over 3 million copies worldwide. Topping charts and dominating headlines is nothing new for Weezy. He's had his fair share of negative press, but he has also done his fair share of good. After the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, Wayne made several impactful donations to help clothe kids and support families in need. He also helped rebuild a park that was badly damaged in New Orleans, the rapper's home city, by donating an astonishing sum of $200,000. Every year for Thanksgiving, Lil Wayne shares his holiday spirit by giving away turkeys. The large amount of turkeys donated is estimated to be around 1,000. His charitable acts often go unnoticed and fall under the radar. However, he made headlines after opening a skate park in 2012 to encourage kids in the city to learn something new: skateboarding. The park was built in collaboration with the drinks brand Mountain Dew as a way to bring life back to the badly damaged city. Always the maverick, Lil Wayne never seems to run out of breath. Unfortunately, the Young Money millionaire's good deeds couldn't let him outrun his past. While on his way back from California, Wayne's private jet was searched upon its arrival in Miami, where the rapper now lives. During the search, authorities discovered a gold-plated .45 caliber pistol and 6 rounds of ammunition in luggage claimed to belong to Lil Wayne. But what did the father of 4 have to say about the discovery? Wayne told investigators that the gun was a Father's Day gift in a plea to help his case. The then 38-year-old rapper entered the plea during a hearing held remotely before U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams. The remote hearing was a direct result of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. Wayne pleaded guilty to all charges. the charges brought against him carry a hefty maximum 10-year federal prison sentence, as he had a previous conviction related to gun charges back in 2010. Unfortunately for him, as a convicted felon, he is not lawfully allowed to possess a firearm, regardless if it were a Father's Day gift or not. He was able to avoid jail time by paying his $250,000 bail. However, he was effectively a prisoner of the state and had to forfeit his passport. Wayne has had a rocky history with guns. In 1994, when Wayne was just 12 years old, he shot himself in the chest with a revolver. For a while, Wayne claimed it was an accident as a result of him messing around, but he has recently revealed that it was a suicide attempt. Wayne's mother had requested that he should give up rapping. This came after she found out he had been lying to her about his school timetable. Wayne had 2 half-days during the week, but had only informed his mother of 1. All the connections he had made at Cash Money were to be relinquished, and his life as an ordinary kid surrounded by poverty was to become his new reality. After pulling the trigger, the bullet missed his heart by only a few inches and sent Wayne onto his back. Fortunately for Wayne, he had dialed 911 before the incident took place. 12-year-old Wayne was scared, confused, and angry. When the police arrived at his front door, the officers immediately ran past his blood-soaked body to search the apartment. Fortunately, when Officer Robert Hubler arrived, he heard a faint cry for help. He ordered both officers to help him save Wayne's life. No ambulances were available for dispatch, so Hubler took it upon himself to transport Wayne to the hospital. Whatever he does, it's clear that the multi-talented Lil Wayne is here to stay. In 2020, during his downhill battle against the gun possession charge, Lil Wayne was issued a presidential pardon by President Donald Trump. Trump was nearing the end of his presidency, and with hours to spare, he issued 143 pardons and commutations. Despite being able to live a comfortable life, Wayne has continued to work on his craft. While working on his album titled The Carter 5, he announced the name of his next project. The project, titled Funeral, would be his 14th studio album. Released on January 31st of 2020, the album of the year launched itself to #1 on the US charts. However, in the modern age of streaming, failed to reach the record-breaking sales numbers of his previous successful projects, selling only 38,000 records. The album pays tribute to legendary basketball player Kobe Bryant, who unfortunately passed away in a helicopter crash